This first stanza sets the stage, literally and figuratively. It paints a vivid picture of the king and his court enjoying a brutal sport. A lion fight. Now, what do you think this says about the values of this society? Entertainment here isn't a play or a concert, it's violence. So, think of stanza 1 as the curtain rising. The characters are in place, the tension is building, and someone, perhaps foolishly, is about to test love with life itself. Ready? Let's move line by line and break it down deeper. Let's begin with the very first line. King Francis was a hearty king, and loved a royal sport. Now pause for a second, what image comes to your mind? You probably see a strong, energetic king, someone larger than life, right? Maybe laughing loudly, enjoying big feasts, or cheering as lions roar. This line means King Francis is being introduced as bold, full of life, and someone who enjoys grandeur, especially when it comes to dangerous, elite pastimes like watching wild animals fight. But have you noticed something about the tone here? It's a bit admiring, even boastful, but there's also a hint of irony. The phrase, loved a royal sport, makes it sound dignified, but the sport is watching lions tear each other apart. So we're starting to sense that what the court sees as noble might be brutal. The theme this line introduces is really important. It's about power, masculinity, and how violence is turned into entertainment, especially by those in charge. Now let's talk imagery. Can you visualize this king? A big figure on a golden throne, cheering, while the arena rumbles below? Leigh Hunt wants us to see and almost feel the richness and violence all at once. What about poetic devices? Well, here we see alliteration in hearty king. Those repeating H and K sounds make the line bounce with energy, just like the king himself. And the phrase, royal sport, sounds noble, but also makes us question, what is considered sport when you have all the power? Finally, let's explore symbolism. King Francis isn't just a person here. He symbolizes royal privilege, someone so high in status, he can enjoy deadly violence as if it were a play. He represents the luxury and detachment of the elite. So, what do you think? Is the king being celebrated or gently criticized? Leigh Hunt leaves us wondering. Drop your thoughts in the comment section, I'd love to hear your take. Here's the second line, and one day as his lions fought, sat looking on the court. Let's take a moment, what scene are we stepping into now? You can almost picture it like a movie, right? The lions are fighting fiercely in the arena, and above them, the king sits with his royal court, noblemen, women in fancy dresses, all watching. This line means that the king isn't just enjoying a lion fight, he's watching it surrounded by his entire royal court. It's not a private moment, it's a public display, a grand performance. So what's the tone here? It feels calm and observational, but there's something detached about it too. Nobody seems disturbed by the violence, it's just another day of royal entertainment. That detachment tells us a lot about the values of this world. The theme deepens here, the separation of power from reality. Those in power can enjoy chaos and violence without ever getting their hands dirty. It's about privilege, spectacle, and how violence becomes a form of elite entertainment. Let's think about imagery. Can you see the contrast? Wild lions clashing below, while polished nobles watch from elegant seats above. It's a vivid picture of grace and savagery in the same frame, one of Leigh Hunt's strengths. What about poetic devices? There's inversion in the sentence structure, it reads a bit oddly, doesn't it? Sat looking on the court, Hunt is flipping the normal order to keep the rhythm consistent and the focus poetic. It keeps the tone formal and grand. For symbolism, think about this. The court represents the safety and elegance of the elite world, high above the dangers of the lions below. Meanwhile, the lions fighting stand for raw nature, conflict, and instinct, which the court can afford to watch from a safe distance. So let me ask you, if you were there, would you be in the court, or the pit? And what does that say about who has power in this world? Share your views or personal insights in the comments below, let's discuss. Here comes the third line, the nobles filled the benches, and the ladies in their pride. Let me ask you first, what kind of image comes to mind when you hear this line? We're zooming out now, the arena is full, the nobles are seated, and ladies, dressed in their finest, are glowing with pride. Can you picture it? Elegant gowns, jeweled fans, the rustle of silks. All eyes fixed on the brutal spectacle below. This line means that the upper class, both men and women, are gathered to watch, not just as spectators, but almost like they're on display too. The phrase, ladies in their pride, suggests more than just watching. It hints at vanity, perhaps even competition among themselves. So what's the tone here? There's a slightly satirical edge. Leigh Hunt isn't just describing beauty, he's subtly mocking the vanity and detachment of these upper-class observers. It feels a bit like he's saying, look at them, proud, polished, and perfectly safe. What's the theme? This line builds on the theme of class division and appearance over substance. It's about how violence becomes a fashionable event, even a social ritual. It shows us a world where beauty watches brutality without blinking. For imagery, try to imagine it: rich robes, haughty faces, golden benches, all contrasted with the roaring lions. It's a stunning clash between decorum and danger, elegance and savagery. Let's spot the poetic devices. Notice the alliteration, ladies in their pride. That repetition of the L and P sounds adds musicality, but also subtly emphasizes the pride itself. It's meant to stand out. And what about symbolism? The nobles and ladies are more than just people. They symbolize social order, privilege, and how disconnected the upper class is from danger or consequence. Their pride isn't just about appearance, it represents their untouchable status. So here's a thought: why do you think Hunt describes them this way right after showing the lion fight? Is he asking us to admire them, or question them? Let's read this fourth line carefully. And among them sat the Count the Lodge, with one for whom he sighed. Here's a question for you: what changes in the scene now? Whose story are we about to follow? This line means we are introduced to a key character, Count the Lodge, a nobleman sitting in the audience. But more importantly, he's not alone, he's with a lady he loves. That phrase, with one for whom he sighed, is poetic, for he had feelings for her, maybe admired her deeply or was hoping to win her affection. So let's talk tone. The tone becomes more personal and romantic here. We're shifting from a wide-angle view of the arena to a close-up of emotion, someone sitting among the crowd, but thinking about love, not lions. What imagery does this line create? Imagine it visually: a well-dressed man, maybe a bit distracted, his gaze flicking more toward the lady beside him than toward the fight below. You feel the tension in the air, not just from the lions, but from unspoken desire. Now, what's the theme that begins to unfold here? This line introduces romantic desire as a major theme, but it's not just about love. It's also about proving worth, public image, and maybe even the pressures of courtship in a society where appearances and actions matter deeply. Any poetic devices? Yes, Hunt uses a gentle euphemism with "for whom he sighed." Instead of bluntly saying he loved her, he uses a more poetic, softer phrase that elevates the tone and keeps it refined, suitable for a high-class setting. And the symbolism? The Count the Lodge symbolizes honor and chivalry, at least for now. And the lady? She could represent not just love, but also status, beauty, or even power, depending on how far the Count is willing to go for her approval. Now ask yourself, why does Leigh Hunt introduce love right in the middle of a violent lion fight? Is it contrast? Irony? Or is he setting the stage for a moral test? That's the beauty of poetry. Every line opens a new door. Enjoying these detailed poetry breakdowns? Subscribe to the channel for more student-friendly literature insights, stanza by stanza. Now let's read this fifth line together. And truly, 'twas a gallant thing to see that crowning show. Here's a question for you. Have you ever watched something so grand, so dramatic, that it almost felt like a scene from a movie? What does this line mean? The speaker describes the scene, a man about to enter the lion's den, as a gallant thing. In other words, noble, brave, even glorious. The phrase, crowning show, suggests that this was the highlight of the event, the most dramatic and unforgettable moment. What's the tone here? The tone is admiring, almost celebratory. There's excitement in the voice, like the speaker is swept up in the moment. It also feels slightly romanticized, as if the danger has been transformed into a kind of heroic theater. What are the themes here? This line continues the theme of courage under pressure, but it also introduces spectacle, the idea that public bravery is watched, judged, and admired. It hints at how society views heroism, not always for its risk, but for its entertainment value. Let's talk imagery. You might picture a grand arena, people leaning forward in their seats, the lions pacing, the glove on the ground, and one man stepping forward while everyone holds their breath. This is the crowning show, like the grand finale at a circus, only this one could end in death. Let's look at poetic devices. We see archaic diction, words like "'twas" and "gallant", that give the poem a chivalric, medieval flavor. The phrase, crowning show, is a metaphor. It doesn't mean an actual crown, but the peak or climax of the event. It turns the dangerous moment into something like a performance. What about symbolism? The phrase, crowning show, symbolizes the public reward of bravery, applause, admiration, even love. But it also hints at the idea that heroism is sometimes driven by appearance, not inner virtue. It raises a question, is bravery still noble if it's performed for others? So this line reminds us that people often admire bold actions, but it also makes us think deeper. Are those actions genuine, or staged? Let's take a close look at this line, valor and love, and a king above, and the royal beasts below. Now stop for a second, what picture forms in your mind? Can you see it? On the top, a king, nobles, and lovers. Below them, lions clashing in a deadly fight. It's like a living painting, a dramatic arena of emotions, power, and danger. This line means we're looking at a grand arena, where bravery and romance, valor and love, are present among the nobles. The king sits above it all, watching calmly. Meanwhile, below him, lions, wild and dangerous, are fighting viciously. It's like a scene in a play, with clear levels, love and honor on display above, violence and raw power below. So, what's the tone here? It sounds majestic and formal, doesn't it? But also a bit detached, like it's observing this scene from a distance. It's serious, almost like someone narrating a legend. Now, let's talk about the theme. This line connects several big ideas: valor, or bravery, love, possibly romantic or even performative, and then the contrast, a king above, symbol of control, while royal beasts rage below, symbolizing raw power and danger. It shows a theme of hierarchy, how everything and everyone is in their place, the ruler on high, the chaos beneath. What kind of imagery do you see? This line gives a striking visual. Imagine a circular arena, nobles in fine clothes watching, a regal king seated high, and lions roaring in the pit. It's like a stage set for a grand act. Now let's talk poetic devices. There's contrast and juxtaposition at play here. The king above and the royal beasts below create a clear vertical structure, showing hierarchy. The repetition of and adds rhythm and a sense of build-up. Also, there's internal rhyme, love, above, which gives the line a lyrical, flowing quality. What about symbolism? This line is packed with symbols. The king represents control, order, and class. The lions represent wild, untamed instincts, like anger or violence. And valor and love suggest noble emotions, but here they are being tested in an environment of danger and performance. So what's the poet saying? That love and bravery, even royal authority, are all part of the spectacle. It's a world where emotions are on stage and danger is entertainment. And that wraps up stanza 1, a royal show full of love, pride, and danger on display. Want to know what happens when the lions take over the spotlight? Watch part 2, coming soon. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and drop a comment if you've got any doubts. Let's keep making poetry simple and fun. See you in the next one.